Now, the next one, now that we've completed the daily dunkathon on Khabib, let's move on. So, obviously, we know that UFC 300 is around the corner. I'm not sure when this video is going to come out, probably in the next few days. But, we're basically 2 weeks away from UFC 300. And, there's a lot of separate storylines taking place in that one. I'm going to actually end this one just with a quick one where I ask both of you which fight you're most looking forward to, just as a little cherry on top for this particular one, the one you're most looking forward to at UFC 300. But one story in this one that's being, I don't know, it's not really at the forefront. And that was a lot of fans calling for, and the eventual conclusion of UFC veteran Jim Miller being placed on the card. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this topic up in particular is because Big Boy Cormier has been running his mouth about this even quite recently, and essentially was saying that even though Miller's win record is impressive, he believes that the amount of losses that he's accrued, the quality of opposition, means that he's not really Hall of Fame worthy. Now, I'm paraphrasing here because DC likes to waffle a lot, and I know this is ironic considering I'm doing that right now. But, Miller's obviously fired back. He said that DC had 15 UFC fights. He's compared his first UFC 15 fights and basically said along the lines of, I've essentially had 3 Daniel Cormier careers back to back. I'm on my 3rd Daniel Cormier career, is what he said, and my record is almost the same as his, like proportionately. So, bearing all the things in mind, I'm curious, what's you guys' take on this? Do you think that Jim Miller should be entered into the UFC Hall of Fame? What do you reckon?
Yes. There's nobody that's going to accumulate the amount of wins, amount of fights, just the sheer numbers that he's put up. Here's another one. He's almost like the Wilt Chamberlain of MMA because of how many numbers, the pure numbers that he's putting up. So it's hard to keep him out. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to put up those kind of numbers. So how can you keep him out? Only person that's been at 100, 200, and 300. The longevity alone is what should put him in, for sure.
Interesting. What do you reckon, CJ, about Jim Miller?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious why DC is opposed to him being in the Hall of Fame. First of all, I already thought he was. Like, they had some beef or something, or like, what's the deal? Is that what it is? Okay, so he's
no.
okay.
I think for DC, he wants it to be like an exclusive club where you have to have achieved, because very few people are going to achieve what DC did in the sport, for example. And he wants the UFC Hall of Fame to be seen as this elite of the elite club kind of thing. And I guess he sees having somebody like Jim Miller in it is going against that a bit, because you never won a title. There's issues, like I get it. That's what I think it is.
I wonder, one, is it just that they had some beef and he's like, fuck that guy, he doesn't deserve to be there because
who says fuck Jim Miller?
Sound like DC, right? No?
Right, probably, yeah.
I mean, meaning he doesn't want to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know, but I don't know. It sounds like this is just a criteria thing that there's probably not much of it. Like, how do you get in, and how is it not exclusive? Like, this is the Hall of Fame. How many people are in the Hall of Fame now? And what are they in for?
It's never really been specifically stated, has it? But this is what kind of leads to my point, because, like, I'm gonna be real. Who actually gives a fuck? Like, maybe
in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like maybe it's because I'm not an American and I don't place the same kind of importance on this, because we don't have Hall of Fames in the UK, really. It's not really that kind of I mean, we have a Premier League Hall of Fame that started recently, but nobody gives a toss about it. And I think really that, like, I don't care. No one cares. Like, and I don't think him being in the Hall of Fame or not, like, diminishes the relationship and appreciation from the fans that have watched him and know how good he's been and how important he's been for the sport over the years. So on like a basic level, I think like DC wading in here and saying that he shouldn't be in it, it's just flagrantly disrespectful. Like, I think him saying that is like, I don't care if the guy never fought for a title. I know he's lost 13 times in the UFC. I don't give a fuck. Like, he's fought more times in the UFC than anyone. He's continued to win. He fights in an exciting way. Mm-hmm. And often he's finished people in like impressive ways.
And I think like, doing it. Like the UFC,
doing it. He's still doing it. Like, the UFC was basically carried on the shoulders of fighters like Miller back in the day when no one gave a shit about MMA. Mm-hmm. You know, Miller's beaten great fighters that have gone on to do really excellent things in the sport. Like, he beat Charles Oliveira at one point.
Yeah.
He's also lost to Charles Oliveira, but he's also like lost to guys where he's like given them a reputable test that have propelled them forward. And I think that's important as well. Like, mm-hmm. If he wasn't there to give those guys a test, maybe they didn't become the people that they became. He's had important wins and important losses, and he's shaped his division for decades. He's been a consummate professional, an ambassador for the sport. So DC needs to shut up and stop being a fat, disrespectful walking ball bag.
I think what he's worried about is people not understanding the relevancy of kind of the elite of the Hall of Fame. Like in all Hall of Fames, you have people who got in, you know, kind of slid into the Hall of Fame. And then you got the people who are in the elite, like in that one small room of the Hall of Fame with the elites of the elites. And once this Hall of Fame starts to really build up, it's going to be that way. So I think that he doesn't need to worry about that. And I think that Jim Miller has a relevant case for what he's done for the sport to be in the Hall of Fame.